Horningsea, a picturesque village on the bank of the River Cam. But it was not always this way. The earth slumbered in ancient times, but something was awoken. There came a stirring, and from the marshes a great eye rose forth to view creation, the eye of Horning. This island of chalk and clay has seen wars and kings, arts and industry, events that have shaped the history of our planet as Horning's eye looks out from the centre of the universe. For thousands of years, people have dwelt in Horningsea. Hello?
You missed the dinosaurs!
The dinosaurs? Right. Dinosaurs!
Yes, dinosaurs. I'm finding out about Horningsea history, and I want to start at the beginning. And Dad said there were dinosaurs here.
Your dad is right. There were dinosaurs, and they needed the loo. I'll tell you why that's important later. But first, I'll ask some friends to call you and help you to find out what else has happened in Horningsea.
Thanks, Grandad. Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hello, your Grandad asked me to call. Do you know the way to the church?
Yes, of course I do. I live right next to it.
Well, the gargoyles have been here in Horningsea for a long time. They must know a thing or two about what has happened here.
Good idea. I'll see what they can tell me.
Remember, they move very slowly.
That's okay. I can use the phone box to speed up time.
That's a clever idea. I bet nobody else has thought of using a phone box to travel through time.
That's what they're for.
Well, have fun.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Do you live up here?
I usually live above the door, but it's been about 700 years and I rather fancied a change of scenery.
I'm trying to find out about Horningsea history. Do you know any?
Well, if by that you mean the things the people do, there is certainly a lot of it. They never stop. Just here where I live, windows have been put in and taken out. Doors appear and disappear. The porch was built and changed again. The tower was built and nearly fell down. Things go in and things come out, like pews and fonts.
But do you know anything about the people in Horningsea?
Well, I know they're a very odd lot. The church wardens pay the village children pennies to collect hedgehogs, crows and polecats.
I don't think they do that anymore.
No? Well, they keep thinking of something to change. As I was saying, they put on a gate, raised the roof again, and added all the little statues.
Sorry, I think I need to be getting back now. I have lots to find out. Thanks for telling me about the church.
You are most welcome. It was nice meeting you. You could borrow one of the candlesticks to remind you of all the things which happened at the church.
Oh, thank you. That's a really good idea. I wonder what other souvenirs I can find. Hello?
Oh, hello. I heard you're finding out about Horningsea history.
Yes, and I'm collecting souvenirs to remind me of all the things I find out.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. You could pick one to take to the village celebrations.
Oh, yes. I'll have to find just the right thing.
Well, some of the oldest things you can find in Horningsea are buried in the fields. People from the Bronze Age lived here thousands of years ago. They set up camps, hunted and gathered nuts and fruit from the trees and bushes, and these people left things buried here in their barrows.
Like a wheelbarrow?
No, it's a kind of tomb. When someone died, they would put them in a hole along with their most valuable possessions. Bronze items like spears, their own stone axe and their dagger.
A spear sounds exciting.
Yes, it does. Next, they heaped up stones and earth on top, which formed the barrow. The barrows have disappeared now, but if you look really carefully in the fields when they're ploughed, you may find some buried treasure.
Is it worth millions?
No, sadly not. But it's worth looking. And it's not just Bronze Age things you can find. Have you ever noticed what's on the village sign?
Yes, it's someone making a pot.
I have a friend who knows all about that. I'll get her to call you now.
Thanks.
OK, bye.
Bye. Hello?
Hello. I heard you wanted to know something about the potter on the village sign.
Yes, please.
Well, you'd better go to the fields near Eye Hall. 2,000 years ago, Horningsea was still a small settlement, and the tribes who lived and fought in other parts of East Anglia passed us by. Life changed dramatically when the Romans arrived, marching in a straight line down the Roman road into the area known as Cantabria.
So why am I standing in a field again?
This is the potter's field. The Romans needed clay to make pots, and this is where they found it. You can still find bits of the pottery they made in these fields if you look carefully.
Oh, wait, I think I see one.
The Romans were so excited about the Horningsea clay that they set up a pot-making centre. They made big pots, fat pots and thin pots, jugs with one handle, jugs with two handles, bowls, plates. You name it, they made it.
Right here?
That's right. They decorated the pots, baked them in their ovens and carried them back to the dock.
The dock?
In Dock Lane. They sent the pots all over the Roman Empire. That's why there's a potter on the Horningsea sign.
Because it's the most interesting thing to happen in Horningsea.
No, there's plenty more to tell. I'll get someone to call and continue the story.
Okay, thank you. Hello?
After the Romans had left Horningsea, more people started to live here, especially
monks.
Monks?
Yes, they found that nobody owned the land, so they just moved in, built a church and farmed the land.
Free land? That sounds nice.
Maybe, but this was not an order of monks, more like a disorder. They kept squabbling about whose free land it was. For example, Kenmure was in charge of the minster when the local people donated land in Horningsea and Eye. He had a relative called Wulfric. When Kenmure died, Harold succeeded him. He had a relative called Ethelstan. But Wulfric wanted the land at Eye, so he forcibly and unjustly took it. In the days of King Edgar, some people stole valuables from Throth, son of Earl Oslac, and took them to Ethelstan, who hid them in Harold's chest. Throth turned up with bailiffs, and there was trouble. Harold stole valuables which had been donated to the minster and used them to pay Wulstan to let him stay in charge of the minster and also to pay the bishop to get Ethelstan out of trouble. Then Harold died and Ethelstan took his place. Later, the blessed Ethelwold bought Horningsea from King Edgar. Wulstan ordered him to measure the land belonging to Ethelstan, but Ethelstan claimed he owned Eye as well. He asked Wulstan to help him claim the land and get away with stealing from the minster. Wulstan did that on condition that Eye became his property. Did you get that?
No.
Well, there's a lot more like that, and the monks kept arguing until up the river came the Vikings. Their leader, Horning, led them up from the river.
Wow, was he really called Horning?
I have no idea, but he led them up to face the monks, who saw the Vikings and gallantly ran away, stopping only to hide their treasure. So the Vikings lived in Horningsea until the Normans came and invaded.
People just keep saying the land is theirs. Whose is it anyway?
Well, that has a lot to do with what we are celebrating. I'll ask someone to call you and tell you about that. Bye.
Thank you, bye. Hello?
Hello. Did you want to know about the Horningsea 800 celebrations?
Yes, please. I heard it was something to do with who owns Horningsea.
Well, my story starts with the Normans. They decided to count everything in England and write it down in a book.
The Doomsday Book?
That's right.
Well, they're not doing anything useful.
Fine. We'll put 6 unemployed cattle. What about the eels?
I made it 998.
Well, I got 1,053.
We can't do it again.
No, I'm going to say 1,000. No one will ever read what we've written anyway.
How about the sheep?
OK, 1, 2, 3, 4, 158.
159, 160 sheep.
I'm terribly sorry. I think you missed me off the list.
And one sorry horse.
Does it really say there were unemployed cattle and a sorry horse?
Yes, that's exactly what they wrote down. They were trying to account for everything.
So that stopped all the squabbling about who owned what?
No, but at least they had written down what they were arguing about.
So what did happen 800 years ago?
Well, Horningsea was controlled by the Bishop of Ely back then. The bishop's name was Eustache, and he almost deserved it. The people had to pay him tribute.
Tribute?
They had to give him things. It was 1 mark of silver and 3 horse loads of meal every year. The bishop was worried about some students who had run away from Oxford and come to Cambridge. He built himself a palace at Biggin in Horningsea so he could keep an eye on what was happening in the town.
What did happen?
The students formed into groups and finally made the university, which is still there today. One of the groups was called the Brothers of the Hospital of St John, but we now call it St John's College.
Their seal looks like a squashed pigeon.
Well, it's supposed to be a mighty eagle. The bishop took a liking to this lot and decided to give them Horningsea. He prepared the deed of gift and handed it over.
That's it? This little slip of paper?
That's right. So Horningsea was given to St John's College 800 years ago, and they still own some of the land and have responsibility for part of the church.
So that's what we're celebrating. Thank you for telling me about it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Hello?
Hello, it's Grandad. I hope you found out some interesting things about Horningsea.
Yes, people kept fighting over who owned the land. Why were they so interested in Horningsea?
Well, there are lots of useful resources here, and the river helps you move things in and out. There's the clay that the Romans used for making pots, willow for weaving baskets, and fertile land for growing food. But the dinosaurs have a part to play too.
Yes, you said you'd tell me about the dinosaurs.
Do you remember that they went to the loo in Horningsea?
Yes.
Well, the Victorians discovered fossilised dinosaur poo in Horningsea. They called it coprolite and used it as a fertiliser.
So that's why things grow so well in Horningsea?
Maybe, but it was also valuable. More and more people came to dig it up. Working conditions got really bad, so the people decided to protest.
By marching?
Yes, 200 men, women and children picked up shovels and pickaxes and marched together to protest to the management.
We dig for it 10 hours in a pit, but the money couldn't be much finer. Smells right strong, but you don't smell it long. That's a song of the coprolite miner.
Did the conditions change?
They probably got a little better, but there was still a lot of accidents. Victorian England was like that. Would you like to say hello to Granny? She knows a lot about Horningsea.
Yes, please.
Oh, hello, dear.
Hello, Granny. What do you know about Horningsea?
Oh, my. I hardly know where to start. People have been coming and going from Horningsea for centuries, and every one of them has a story. Like George Gurney, who came from Kingston, Jamaica, and was baptised here just a couple of months after the slave trade was abolished. And the Dutch came and drained the fens so we can farm. The Roman Horningsea pots can be found in Pompeii. And a man called Joshua Moore went from St John's Farm, down St John's Lane, all the way to Australia, where he built a place called Horningsea Park, which is still there now. And did you know 3 kings have stayed in Horningsea over the years? I haven't even mentioned the comings and goings which happened during the World Wars. There's just so much to tell, and people are still coming and going all the time.
Wow, that's a lot of stories.
Yes, in fact, there's so much you can find out from the villagers. Some have been in Horningsea for many years and remember how the village has changed. There are even people living here who went to school when it was still open. They had to help with the farming as well as doing their schoolwork. Oh, look, it's time for the celebrations now. I'll just hand you back to Grandad.
Hello? 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 Are you there? Have you decided what you're going to take to the celebrations?
No, I've just got here and I'm about to show it to everyone.
Is it something big, like a dinosaur?
No! It's this tiny piece of paper. Thank you, Gertie. It may look small, but it's got the whole of Horningsea on it. That's what we're celebrating today. I brought the deed of gift. Hello?
Welcome to Horningsea Heritage. Our records show that you are currently up to date. Please hold for more history to become available. You are currently number 800 in the queue. Your heritage is very important to us. Please hold. Please be aware that this call might be recorded for chronicling and training purposes. Your heritage is very important to us. Please hold. Your call may be recorded for chronicling purposes, including but not limited to staff training, underground time capsules, further Horningsea heritage events, and future inquisitive children. We are required to inform you that Horningsea Heritage is regulated and controlled by the Brothers of the Hospital of St. John's. Please note, misuse of this service may result in your removal from history. Further heritage currently in progress. Please hang up and try again later. Please hang up and try again later. Please hang up and try again later.